So now, moving on to our next session. So as mentioned earlier this morning, right, our next session is actually by Lenovo, and our presenter is from Singapore. So Ms. Jalial Ng is the Workstation Business Manager of Lenovo Singapore and Indonesia. And we actually also have Mr. Jason Wong from Malaysia with us as well. So having 25 years of experience in the IT industry, she will be talking about breaking barriers with Lenovo Workstations. But just before I pass the presentation to her, I would just like to share the video, a short video. All right.
To do something extraordinary, sometimes you have to discover a new path, to carve your own route, while others go in circles, to chase the unexpected and then create it yourself. Don't let it happen, make it happen, build it, and blaze your own trail. Meet the new ThinkStation P620. The first workstation with AMD Ryzen Threadripper Pro power packed inside. Fine-tuned for multi-threaded applications. Purpose-built with high-performance memory, storage and I/O. Unprecedented professional graphics support. Groundbreaking performance with limitless possibilities. Redefining power, reliability and speed. It's time to change the game.
All right. So without further ado, please welcome Ms. Jalial Ng. Yep, Jalial, good morning.
Hi, thanks, JJ. Good morning.
Hi.
Yes,
No
I need you to promote me to become a presenter so that I can share my
Yeah.
screen, right?
All right. Yep, over to you.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
There you go. Yep. Let me know if you can see my screen right now.
Yep, we can. Yep, we could.
And it's at a presentation mode, am I right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. Thank you, JJ. Yeah. Good morning to everybody. Okay. My name is Jalial Ng. I'm the BDM for Workstation. Covering the entire portfolio of the Lenovo Workstation. We do have Jason with us. Jason is actually covering Malaysia and Philippines, while I cover Singapore and Indonesia. Okay, just a bit of background by myself. I used to be from HPE before as a pre-sales for the past 18 years before I joined Lenovo 2 years plus ago. So I'm going to share with you a couple of things today. So let's get going. Yeah. So stay connected and stay active. Any questions you have, just feel free to just post it, in the chat. Then we will answer the questions. Another thing is we're running 2 quiz during this session. Okay, so just stay, awake. I know it's tiring. Okay, before lunch, and then answer the question and win for yourself a Starbucks voucher. Okay.
All right. Jalial,
Yep.
yeah, we noticed that your screen is actually in the presenter mode. Yeah.
Okay. So I need to, let me just change it a bit. I think if I put it on this will do.
Oh,
Am
yes,
I right?
that's right.
Yep.
Yep, that's better. All right, yeah,
Yep.
please proceed. Sorry for interrupting. All right,
No worries.
thanks.
Yeah. Yes, thanks, JJ. Yep. So there are a couple of things I'm going to cover today. First thing, the Lenovo Workstation product portfolio. Okay. Touching on the entire portfolio that we have, but I'm not going to go spec by spec because I do have a slide to show you the entire spec. Okay, I heard a lot of the questions just now asked to the Intel team, like what is a good spec for SolidWorks, etc. I do have that prepared for you, so you can actually use that guidance. We call it the smart guidance for best workstation config. Okay, and then of course why Lenovo workstation. In the extra reference, you will see things such as product positioning, the spec, and then the why workstation, because I do get question people asking, you know, why not using a gaming PC instead of a workstation? So I have that in extra reference for your own reference. Yeah. Okay, let's touch on the workstation, the product portfolio. So you're seeing the entire portfolio that we have in Lenovo that we're offering. Okay, so if you look from the left-hand side itself, we do have the desktop workstation, which is a P340. This is a um, best options for you if you are running like a 2D and 3D kind of applications, okay, CAD applications. And we have three different platform. Okay, we have it in the tiny, a small little box, which is the size of maybe your wireless router at home. Okay, and then we have small form factor and tower. So depend on your needs, depend on the graphic card you are looking at. So these three different model can cater to your needs. Okay. And then if you move to something that is on the mid-range, maybe meant for your basic rendering, analysis, simulation, 3D CAD design, we will recommend you to go for a P520C or P520. Okay. And as we move on, you see we have something P620, which is the video you see earlier on. Okay. This is a AMD running on AMD Threadripper Pro machines. Okay, so the processor itself, and this is the one and only that we have right now. Okay, we are ahead of our competitors for 6 months, so you will not see it offered by our competitors. Okay, so what's so great about this is this machine itself, although it's a single processor, but it can go up to 64 core. So depend on your needs, we do have a full range over here for your selection. Okay, so if you move a bit further, that's where you go into the products such as the dual processor machines. Okay, so what you will see over here is our dual processor machines, such as the P720 and P920. So if you're doing some mainstream rendering, analysis, simulation, okay, or extreme power, high-end simulation, these two model will cater to your needs. Okay, so for people who are saying, hey, I need a workstation and I need to mount it into my rack, that is where P920 rack will come into play. So this form the entire desktop workstation. Okay, so what about the rest of the machines that we're seeing here? That is the mobile workstation. Okay, right now, you know, be it whether it's Singapore or even in Malaysia, okay, a lot of time we have to work from home. So I do get customer asking me, do you have the equivalent of a desktop workstation that is as powerful, but we want to use it um, in, you know, at home? Okay, so you can actually do that. Okay, we have a full range over here. On the start, what you're seeing is the P14S and P14S AMD. So this version itself will be a good start for you if you're looking into having a mobile workstation that can do some of the entry level kind of work exactly like your P340. Okay, so we have P14S, P15S. And for P14S, if you notice, we have something called P14S AMD. So we have two versions. We have the Intel as well as AMD version. Okay, so if you just need a entry level kind of a graphic card like a P520, so P14S, P15S will be a good fit for you. Okay, but if you need a higher graphic card, you need a Xeon processor, that's where you can start moving to P15V. So it actually provide you with a P620 graphic card. Okay, so in between the entry level and what we call the mid range, which is our P1 Gen 3. So P1 Gen 3 is a collaboration with Aston Martin. It's not that new anymore, right? It's like into our Gen 3 already. So what's so great about this product? Okay, it allow you to run most of your app, okay, at a much faster speed. It offer you Xeon processor and yet very lightweight. So without touchscreen is 1.7 kg, with touchscreen is 1.83. So P1 Gen 3, in fact, is one of my favorite product. Okay, so it's a product that all the Aston Martin engineers are actually using it to design their cars. Okay, so it's a hot favorite, and P1 Gen 3 is where it stands. Then as we move on to the higher range, we have the P15 and P17. As P1 Gen 3 support up the T2000 graphic card, some customer may say, I need higher range of graphic card because I want to do VR. That is where P15 and P70 come into play. The spec for these two products is exactly the same. The processor offered, the only difference is the screen size. So between 15-inch and 17-inch. Then next to the P15, you see something called P15G. So you wonder what is that? So it's also in our portfolio. So it's exactly the same box, or rather the same form factor as the P15, but it support your GeForce card. So it support the RTX 2070, 2080 supercard. Okay, so you have the choice to use that card, then you have to go for T15G. So this is the entire portfolio that we have. Okay, so let's look at what we have next. So we mentioned about P620. So since it's our new product, I want to highlight a bit on the spec that is available for the P620. So as mentioned, AMD Threadripper Pro up to 64 core, okay, 4.3 gigahertz. Okay, you can put two NVIDIA Quadro RTX 8000 or 4-time NVIDIA Quadro RTX 4000. Okay, and it also supports GeForce 2080 supercard. Okay. Memory 1 terabyte. Okay, total storage, it can go all the way up to 20 terabyte. So it's a very powerful machine, giving you a 6 PCI Express slots, okay, and PCIe Gen 4. Okay, take notice of that. So because most of our product right now are still running on PCIe Gen 3. Okay, port wise, okay, it's all stated over there. I will not highlight too much about that. The power supply is supported is 1000 watt, and for the network port, it's actually running on 10 gig versus 1 gig on most of our machines as the default. Okay. Okay, so this is actually a performance to show you the difference. Okay, so if you are going for the P620, what it will allow you to do is that maybe you can get 25 to 30% performance improvement based on the benchmark that you're seeing over here, done by CPU Mark 10 as well as Cinebench R20. Okay. Okay, so for those who are looking into using P620 for design manufacturing, we do have a spec that's recommended over here. Okay, so you have a choice of different kind of processor. So you notice that we start off with 12 core, then we have a 16 core offering, 32 core as well as 64 core. Okay, so different kind of spec depends on what you're trying to do. If you're going to do like 3D modeling and design or just simulation, then a 12 core or 16 core can do the job. But if you're going to do some manufacturing optimization, rendering, then we will recommend a higher spec of 32 core or even 64 core. Okay, so for graphic card, we do support a mix of AMD, GPU too, besides the NVIDIA. Okay. Okay, so for those working from home, you have a desktop workstation that is sitting in office and you want to access to the desktop workstation. So one way to do this is to use the TGX software, okay, that we are actually bundling it together. Okay, so what you can do is it allow you to have a receiver which can be any of your mobile workstation, be it whether it's a P14S, P15S, or any of the mobile workstation that you have purchased previously from Lenovo. You can also use that. On the back end, it could be any of your desktop workstation from P340 or maybe even your P920 rack, P720. Okay, so this allow you to continue to get the best performance out of your receiver, or rather your sender, okay, on the back end that is in office. Okay, so we have a 120 days eval license. So if you're interested, do get in touch with us, okay, or through CADVision, okay, and you can actually do an online registration and get 120 days, because I always believe you have to try it to believe it. Okay, so try it out. Once you're happy with it, then you can do the subscription model, okay, and continue to have a TGX software running on your workstation. Okay, we talked so much about the spec and the portfolio. So next, I'm going to touch on a bit on the Smart Guardian for the best workstation config. And you notice whatever I'm sharing right now is not only applicable to workstation, but also your desktop, your notebook that you have, right? So what is the rule of thumb? Customer always like to ask this question, okay? Which I'm getting it very frequently, is what should I invest on? Should I invest on more processor? Should I go for more gigahertz versus core? how much memory is enough? Okay. How about graphics? How about storage? What should I go for? So the rule of thumb is that it's like yoga. Okay, everything have to be balanced. So processor, memory, graphics, storage are all important components, and you should balance all the components in your selection of your workstation. Okay, so which processor is good for you? Okay, so it depends on the apps you are running. You have to know whether your app is a single-threaded app or is it a multi-threading app. Okay, so a single-threaded app, okay, such as CAD software, okay, usually you will see that high clock speed will make more sense. So you will should go for a higher clock speed in your selection. Okay. However, if you're running application that require you to have um better graphic card, you have to do AI, finite element analysis, okay, some simulation, rendering, okay, which are commonly multi-threading apps. So because of that, okay, because the tasks they're doing are all multi-threaded, then what you should go for is higher number of core count. So this is how you actually choose, okay, between higher core count as well as or whether you should go for higher clock speed. Okay, so that is how you select processor. Okay, then we move on to memory. Okay, Lenovo recommendation is 4 gig per core, meaning that if you're buying a machine with maybe let's say you are looking into 4 core. Okay, so a 4 core machine, 4 gig, you should look at 16 gig of memory. That will give you better performance. Okay, so another guide that we have here over it will be the capacity, right? How much is good? Okay, so for solid modeling, we'll recommend at least 16 gig. Large assembly, go for 32 gig. 64 gig if you have to do simulation. Okay. Currently, most of the memory that's in the market that we are offering is the DDR4, so it's 2666. You'll see 2999 being offered right now. Okay, and then one question was asked earlier on, right? Why would people go for Xeon processor? Because you want ECC memory that give you error correcting of a memory, give you high availability. So if you need ECC memory, you have to go for Intel Xeon processor. Okay. Okay, then the next question. This one very important. Pay attention on this. Quiz question. Okay, so when you talk about channel, okay, there's a lot of misconception. A lot of people, if you have 4 DIMM slot, right? A lot of people say, oh, I'll just buy 1x32. I leave 3 different DIMM slot available. So when I have to upgrade, I have it. Okay, or maybe I just go for 2x16. So which one give you a better performance? Actually, is the 4x8. Okay, you should maximize RAM per channel, meaning that maximize all the DIMM slot. Okay, an analogy or example would be exactly in a layman example would be your highway, right? Okay, for those staying in Singapore, it's like your TPE or CTE, and then in Malaysia itself, all the different highway. Okay, the more lanes you have, less traffic. Okay, so same concept over here. 4x8 gig will give you better performance. Then the next question you may have in your mind is, if I populate all the 4 DIMM slot in future, I want to upgrade, what should I do? Okay, I may not have DIMM slot anymore. If you notice, memory price keep dropping. So because of that, if you were to change all the 4 DIMM slot, it doesn't cost you that much. Okay, but yet you're getting better performance. Another thing is that you may buy 2x16 if you have 4 DIMM slot. Okay, and then leaving 2 behind. Right now it may be running a 2666, and then in future, you upgrade another 2 DIMM slot, right? Okay, making it 4. But the memory then will be maybe 3222. So all of them will be running at the lower speed, which is 2666. So you're not making full use of the memory speed. Okay, so that's the reason why I would recommend you to populate all the DIMM slots. Okay, and then you can always recycle the like for example, right now you buy 4x8, right? And then in future you want to go for 4x16. Okay, you can just change all to 4x16. The 4x8 can always be used in machines that do not require such performance. Okay, so that's on memory. Then next thing is graphic card. Okay, when you talk about workstation, graphic card play a very important role. So we have NVIDIA offering, we have AMD that you can see. So how should you choose graphic card? Okay, a lot of time people just say, oh, how many monitor you going to connect to? Okay, it's beyond that. Okay, we have to see how large or complex your 3D model is. Okay, the number of parts per assembly. Okay, the polygon, the texture, screen resolution. Do you need to do VR? So these are the common questions that I usually ask my customer. Okay, with that questions answered, then I have the recommendation. So when you look at the NVIDIA positioning of all the desktop Quadro card that we have, okay, that Lenovo is offering, we do have P400 all the way up to RTX 8000. So which one should you be going for? Okay, I would say 80% of the customer will be using up there maybe RTX 4000, leaving 20% that will move on to the higher range of card. So if you need to do VR, you need at least a RTX 4000. But if you do not need to do VR with the goggles and all that, then a P2200 may fit your need. So you also have to depend on the apps you're running. Okay, is it large, complex CAD models, or is it just medium size? Okay, so you can then map to the right graphic card. Okay, so this help you to select the right graphic card for your need. Okay, so you can see the apps below, so you can map accordingly. Okay, how about on the mobile? So the naming convention is quite different, I think, for mobile as well as desktop. You call it T1000 and T2000 versus P1000 and P2200. So it's the equivalent, okay, over here. And we offer all the way up to RTX 5000. So if you need like RTX 3000, 4000, and 5000, then you have to go for our P15, okay, at least a P15. T2000 and T1000, you can go for a P1, okay, and the rest of the lower one you can go for that will be included in your P15V as well as your P15 or P14S. Okay, so this help you with the graphic card selection. Okay, last but not least is the storage, right? Storage is very important. So when we talk about storage itself, okay, I would say which one is suitable, which one is good. Okay, many years back when we have SATA hard disks, people say, oh, very good performance. Okay, but it's only giving us 200 300 megabit per second. So as compared to later on when we have SATA SSD, which is double the performance. Okay, but right now technology change. Okay, you have improved a lot, and everybody is going for M.2 PCIe SSD. Okay, this is a NVMe hard disk. Okay, so what it allow you to do is faster storage, 2500 to 300 megabit per second. So it's 10 times faster than your SATA hard disk, but it's not 10 times more expensive. Okay, so I would encourage you to go for a M.2. Okay, a 1 terabyte M.2, a 2 terabyte, depends on your need, how much you're going to store inside there. Okay, but if you have a bit of a budget constraint, then what I would encourage you to do, at least one piece of 256 or 512 M.2 to run your OS, your app, your cache file. Okay, and then leaving your archival and storage in the SATA SSD and the SATA hard disk. Okay, so in this way you get good performance and yet at a slightly lower cost as compared to putting everything on M.2. So depending on your budget, you can then choose the right hard disk. Okay. Okay, now we come for the first quiz question. Okay, so JJ, am I right to ask them to put the correct answer into the chat? Okay,
Yeah.
so that we
Yeah.
know who is the fastest person to give the correct answer. Okay, so which of the following configuration of RAM will give you the best performance if you have 4 DIMM slot in your workstation? Is it 1 times 32, 2 times 16, or 4 times 8? Okay, the
Yeah.
very first
So,
person who give us the right answer will win a Starbucks voucher.
right. Yeah. So I'm all right. We have an answer from Melvin Lim, number 3.
Yes, that's the correct answer. Melvin, congratulations. You just won
Yes,
yourself for
congratulations,
yes,
Melvin.
you have won yourself a
Yeah.
Starbucks. Okay, so stay tuned. We have one more to go. So
Yep.
quick
Yeah.
question may just come in
Unfortunately,
anytime.
yeah, for the others, yeah, soft one, Yang Lam, and Zeng Kun Chua, yeah. Good try, yeah, but Melvin actually was the fastest. Yeah, but thank you for participating. All right.
Yes.
Okay. So
So I will carry
we're
on.
gonna,
I have some more
yeah,
slides to go, and then
yep,
we
yep,
have one more quiz question later. Yeah. Thanks, JJ.
yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yep. Sorry.
Sorry for just to address the one question from Yu Yang Ong. Yep. So
Mm,
for Yu Yang Ong, for the he mentioned that yeah, he wanted to take a look at the NVIDIA mobile slides later
Again,
on.
is it?
Yeah,
Okay, can. You want me to flash the slide again, huh?
yeah, just flash the
Yep.
slide. Yep, so I hope Yu Yang Ong, you are looking at this. All right.
Anyway, we'll be sharing the slides after the session, so you can take a look at it. Any question you have, you can feel free to reach out to me or even the CADVision team. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, I think you can carry on.
Thanks,
Yep.
JJ.
Yep.
Okay, so there we go. Okay, earlier on there were questions, right? Like, which is a good config that we should go for if we are looking at having running our you know SolidWorks on the workstation. So if you are using the standard and professional version of SolidWorks, you can go for P330 Gen 2, but right now we are on P340 already. Okay, we have upgraded that. Okay, if you are running a premium and simulation on the desktop workstation, we will recommend a P520C. Okay, if you are looking to mobile workstation instead, a P14S, P15S can do the job, or a ThinkPad P15. Okay, so there is a change of a different version. Okay, so that is what we have to offer. Okay, I actually put in something called work from home productivity kit, okay, to help you so that you know which are the monitor that you can bundle together, with your workstation. Because a lot of time when we work from home, our mobile workstation may not be big enough. The screen may be a bit too small for you. Okay, like what I'm doing right now, I'm using an external screen. So same thing, you can go for external monitor. This is actually the recommended one, is a 27-inch, but you do have a 24-inch onwards. Okay, so bear in mind it's actually a P series of a monitor. With a good workstation that you have, is very important for us to also have a good performance monitor. So that's the reason why we would suggest that you go for a Lenovo P series monitor. Okay, and then of course you can put in your Thunderbolt 3 workstation dock. Okay, have a docking unit for you. Okay, and the graphic card. Okay, if you are running high performance 3D design and engineering, a P1 Gen 3 will be a good fit. Okay, because people who you may have other applications running besides just SolidWorks only. So because of the multiple application, you may want to use a P1 Gen 3. Okay, you can have a choice of whether you want to go for the i7 or the Xeon W processor. Okay, with a graphic card of T2000. Okay, and 32 gig will be the recommended, and with storage at least a 512 gig of M.2 storage. Okay, so if you're going to do a high perform 3D design, and then you have to do visualization and simulation, then it make more sense for you to go for a higher range, because you need better graphic card like a RTS 5000. Then go for a P15. So you can refer to this spec. Okay, and then if you're interested, just go to CADVision. Okay, we will be able to offer you these options. Okay, then we cover why Lenovo Workstation. Okay, why not the competitors? Coming from a server background, I always felt that reliability is very important. Okay, and beyond pricing, a lot of time you have to look at, when you want a workstation grade, you have to look at the reliability of the product. Okay, so this is done by TBR, which is a third party. Okay, you can see from the report that is given over here. Okay, so how do you read this? Basically, Lenovo is the one in red, and then industry and competitors. Okay, so the repair rate at year 3 is up to 7.8% for Lenovo, but for our competitors as well as in the industry will be about 9% to 9.7. So we're 20% more reliable as compared to the competitors, meaning that your workstation will last much longer. Okay, maybe it's not so good news for me and Jason. It means that people will not buy a workstation so soon. Okay, you have to wait at least 4 to 5 years or even longer before we can ask you to buy one. Okay, so what's next? Cooling. Okay, besides server people always talk about cooling, but when talk about workstation, it's also very important. A lot of people are actually running your workstation 24/7. Okay, because you're doing rendering, you're doing simulation, and you leave it running overnight. So the patented tri-channel architecture that we have in Lenovo help you to ensure that you receive cool air in your workstation. Okay, so this is something that we offer that make us different. And not forgetting the ThinkPad. Okay, I think people who have been using ThinkPad for a long time, you know that Lenovo ThinkPad, we actually test for 12 mil spec methods, okay, and 22 procedure to ensure that we can handle all kind of environmental hazard. Okay, so what are the things we test for? Sand and dust, fungus, altitude, extreme temperature, humidity. So this is very important. So it make it more reliable. Okay, so very important slide. Remember this. ISV certification. Okay, having a workstation. So this is one of the difference between a gaming PC versus a certified workstation like Lenovo. Okay, a gaming PC may not have this certification. That's why sometimes people say, "Hey, why am I not getting the right color that I wanted to?" Okay, why am I not getting the precise, and then why the app is not running properly? That is because you're not using an ISV certified machine. Okay, so very important, make sure that your workstation is actually certified like Lenovo. Okay, if you want to run any of these apps that is commonly used in a workstation. Okay, we do have something called Lenovo Performance Tuner. This comes free with all the workstation you purchase, and the LPT itself allow you to do things such as application priority, power management, so you can actually fine tune all this within LPT itself. Okay, to give you better performance. Okay, next question. Fastest finger win. All Lenovo mobile workstations are tested for 12 mil spec methods and 22 procedure to ensure that they can handle any environmental hazard. Is it true or false? Okay, so the very
Oh,
first person who put in the chat will win
yeah.
a Starbucks voucher. Do we have answer there?
Let me see. So far, not yet. Is it?
Ah,
Okay, we have a question. I mean, we have an answer. The
mm.
fastest one is Zeng Kun Chua, and he said that it's true.
Yeah, it's true. Congratulations, you have won yourself
Congratulations. Yeah,
$10
Zeng
voucher.
Kun
Yes,
Chua. Yeah, you have the
yes.
fastest finger, and then right after that, we had so many other other answers. Yeah, but thank you for
Yeah.
participating. The first winner, the first person who with the fastest fingers is actually yeah, Zeng Kun Chua. So congratulations.
Congrats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've come to the end of my presentations. And if you look at the slide itself, as I mentioned, extra reference, you can take a look at the entire portfolio, how we map the rest of the competitors' product to our product. Okay, and of course, spec. Okay, because I find it a bit too dry if I just run through this. So you can refer to this, look at the processor, the graphic card, the memory, power supply that is supported on each model of our workstation, okay, including a mobile workstation, okay, and works some resources and why workstation, right? Like comparing a gaming PC versus workstation. Okay, I just want to highlight one point. Gaming PC, the content is already ready. It's for you to use the content, okay, like playing games, right? Okay, then gaming PC makes sense, okay, and usually they will run GeForce. If you are using Lenovo workstation or any workstation in the market, you should be looking at um, you know, using Quadro card. Okay, because it gives you better reliability and it's actually enterprise grade. So I do have a comparison chart to do that also. Yeah. Okay. So I've come to the end and I'll pass the time back to see if there's any question. Yeah. To you, JJ.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are some questions over here. There's one. Do you have comparison for the AMD GPU, or we just take the NVIDIA GPU as benchmark and to select the equivalent model from AMD?
Okay, I do have that in my slides. Yep, I do have a lot of slides. Let me just, I need to
Yep.
like pull out slides. Okay, so maybe what I can do is I will send the slide across, okay, together with my
Mhm.
slide deck so the person can refer to it.
All right, yeah. So
Yeah,
what
I
we
think
can do
that would be
is
better.
we can, yeah, we can share this information, this entire slide deck to the audience today, yeah, so that you
Mm,
can actually refer to it, yeah, if it's so, if you need it. All right,
yep.
we have another question here. which is, okay, what is the difference between Intel and AMD processor, and which is more recommended and why? So what is the hard disk minimum free space needed in order to have smooth SolidWorks running? Okay,
Okay.
yeah, I think the
Okay.
first portion, yeah, you can address. I think the second portion I can actually address that in
Okay.
terms of the hard disk minimum free space. Yeah.
Yep. So when
Mm,
we talk about, I would say it all depend on what you're going to run. Okay, I won't say AMD is the way to go or whether you should go for a Intel processor. Okay,
mm,
so it depends on the app, and I would suggest whoever who have asked this question, okay, work together with ourselves or even CADVision, okay. Let us know the exact list of application you're running and we size it for you, okay. Because
mm,
you can't just compare a processor to a processor that way, okay. Because remember it's 12 core and above, okay. So if your app do not require you to go all the way to 12 core, then maybe not P620, but a P340 or a P520 can do the job because there is a price range difference, okay, between the P520 and the P620. However, if you are looking into doing things such as simulation, rendering, and you need a higher like a dual processor kind of machine, that is where you can position a P620 um to compare the performance difference. Okay, so if you look at this slide actually show the performance. Okay.
mm. I see. Yep.
Yeah. So it all depends on the application, I would say, whether they can
Mm,
make full use of it. Yeah.
yep. Yeah. Yeah. So the different requirements comes with the different recommended processor
Yes,
in this case.
correct. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I understand. Yep. For the hard disk minimum free space needed in order to have smooth SolidWorks running. So actually, to ensure SolidWorks a smooth operation on SolidWorks, it actually also depends on your RAM. Okay, yeah, so your RAM space is actually what is actually what helps SolidWorks run smoothly as well in that
Yep.
sense. Mm. So hard disk space actually, I don't think it will actually affect the operations of SolidWorks actually. Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, Jalil, but based on my understanding, it's actually based on the RAM instead. So
Yeah,
there's
correct.
actually, yeah, there's a minimum RAM recommendation, which is, if I'm not mistaken, right now it's 8 GB of RAM minimally. Yep.
Correct. If you are running SolidWorks on its own, then 8 gig is the minimum that you should
Yeah,
have. Yeah.
that's right.
Correct. But if you are running like other apps together with SolidWorks, then what I would suggest is like the spec that I mentioned earlier on, right? You can always refer to this as a guideline.
Yep.
So we will
Yep.
recommend at least a 16 gig. Yeah. So you can
Mm-hmm.
actually refer to this. And talking about hard disk itself, it will be the read write, right? So the boot up, the read write, because when you're working on the app, okay, I would say memory play a very important role, but if you take a long time to open up a file that is you are working on, that is where hard disk access is important.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Ah,
That's right.
so it's everything is important lah. That's why I always say it's the four different component also important. Yeah.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
budget you have, then you have to divide out properly. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Everything contributes back to the productivity. Yeah.
Yes.
I would say. Yeah. All right. We have one more
Mm.
question from Melvin. Mostly, we encounter heating issue for laptop workstations, which eventually it brings down performance over time. What are the methods that we can try to prevent or reduce this overheating of, I guess it's overheating of laptop workstations?
Okay, I'm not sure what brand you're using right now. That's why I say
Yeah.
it's very important, right? Then my answer to you is that switch to Lenovo. Yeah. Okay. So if you are
Right,
using
right.
a competitor product, yeah, because proper
Mm,
heating is all in the design of the machines. Yeah.
yep, yep.
So
Agree,
of course,
agree.
I mean, if you say like I already have a laptop at home and how should I make it cooler and all that kind of things, I would say, if it's all this is the design, whether it can take the heat, okay,
Mm,
and even the noise level, it does make a difference. Yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
I mean, all this is all design of the notebook and the desktop. Okay, if you want the proper cooling, then of course there's the those external fan and all that can help you to cool down your machines a bit. Okay, and the temperature of the room will help. Okay, so
Mm,
why we say ThinkPad, right? So you notice that ThinkPad actually gone through extreme humidity and all that. So even when it's hot, it doesn't give you a loud noise on the back end. Yeah,
I
that
see. Okay,
that is
okay.
why it make it different. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I see, I see. Okay, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So another question here is, can we allocate SSD and M2 PC LE together in one workstation?
You can. Okay. So let me correct my question. It all depends whether you're using a desktop or mobile workstation. Right now, all our mobile workstation, which is the notebook, will be offering only M.2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Because of price difference. So if you're talking about mobile workstation, we have M.2 only. But if you're using a desktop workstation, we do offer SATA SSD, SATA hard disk. So you can have a mix of M.2 plus a SATA hard disk or plus SATA SSD.
I see.
Only for the desktop. Yeah.
Only for the desktop
Yep.
workstation. For mobile, it's
The
only
reason,
comes with the
yeah,
M2. All right.
correct.
Mm,
Because right now mobile everybody want it to be lightweight, okay, and fast.
mm, mm.
So the only
Yeah,
way is to go to M.2. And because
I
M.2
see.
price have gone down quite tremendously, right? So
Mm,
the price range is not very great different. So the differentiation, it doesn't make sense for us to just make it bigger to cater for a SATA SSD or a SATA hard disk. Yeah.
mm. Yep. Okay. Understood. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just a quick follow-up one. Yeah, for the heating issue on laptop workstation, actually he's using the P50 ThinkPad.
Oh, that's a very old ThinkPad that we have.
Oh,
So
I see. Mm,
I think that is like P50 5 years ago.
I
I
see.
think it's around
Mm,
there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So machines as it get degraded after a period of time. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So I would say although it's hot, but it will not like malfunction. That's why you're still using it. Yeah. So I think that is what I want to put across. Okay. It
Mm,
may be hot, but it's not malfunctioning. Okay.
mm,
That is
mm,
because we have proper cooling that is inside there,
I
and we
see.
have done the mere spec testing. Yeah.
All right, understand, understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so for LUM core, yeah, actually, so for a SSD and for the M2 SSD to be allocated together in one workstation, it will actually have to be for a desktop
Yes.
workstation instead of a mobile workstation. So for mobile
Right.
workstation, unfortunately, we can only cater for the M2 SSD. Yeah,
Yes. Right.
for lightweight purposes and other considerations. Yep. So
Yep.
I hope that's clear for you. Yeah. So I think that's all the questions that we have for now. So yeah, if you have any other questions, same thing, you can feel free to reach out to us. Yep.
Mm.
And then we'll get back to you. All right. So
Yep.
thank you so much, Jalil, yeah, for joining us today this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you very much.